Hi guys, I don't know if anybody's here yet, but if you are, you might just say hello, please. I might be a bit early. I don't know if I even am live. I think I am though. Sorry, no guys. I think I am live, and I'm just coming on today really to, I suppose really I should introduce myself, because I'm on here today with the Mind, Body, Spirit Experience Limerick, and just to say that I am a psychic medium and a healer and spiritual teacher and all those things, hypnotherapist and all those things put together, really, because to me there's no separation, to be honest with you, with any of them. I feel they're all healing and they're all coming from the same place, from the spirit, you know. So whether I'm doing a reading, a healing, a hypnotherapy, confidence boost, whatever I'm doing, I promise you it's all coming from the same source, which is the spirit, you know. And today I'm here to talk about mediumship, because mediumship happened for me through the healing, I suppose, really. But actually now when I think about it, as a child, I realise now, and it's so funny because it took me to sit in the Art of Finlay College many years ago, and this lady that I worked with that I never met before, to confirm to me, she said, you know, you've been a medium since you were a child, which I never believed for a second. Actually, I even resisted mediumship when I came in first. I thought I was losing my mind, you know, which is what lots of mediums do think that, you know, because I'm a very practical person. I'm a very grounded person. I was like, God, your imagination is going overtime. And then one day, this lady came to me for a healing, and I was doing the healing on her, and you know, the spirit world were coming in, like giving me messages, and I feel really bad when I think about it, because I used to say, you know, I'm busy here, I'm trying to do healing, which I now laugh about, because I think, how did they ever keep persisting and coming back? And this lady was on the bed, her first time coming, never saw the lady before, and this boy called David connected with me, and he said, please tell my mum I'm okay. And I thought about it, and I was like, oh David, I really don't want to be doing this, you know. And he said, please, you've no idea what that would do for her. So when we finished the session, I just said to the lady, would you understand? A boy passed to the spirit world, and his name is David. And she burst out crying, and I said, are you okay? I said, all he wanted me to tell you, and I feel it's really important, because I said, look, I don't even know. I said to her, I don't do this, you know, I have no idea what I'm doing here. But I said, he just is saying to me that it would really help if I was to tell you that he was okay, and that it didn't matter that you weren't there. And the poor lady just cried. Her only child had got a massive brain aneurysm and died, and she wasn't there. And of course it was so healing and so helpful to her. After that, I just thought, who am I not to do the mediumship? Who am I not to do it, you know? Because the whole purpose, hi Anne, the whole purpose of mediumship really is to be a channel for healing, to be of service to the spirit, like it is with any form of healing that we're doing, you know. So when I was in the Art of Finlay College working with this lady that I never saw before, this lovely lady, and she said to me, you know, you're a medium since you were a child. I just thought, what is she talking about, you know? And then she said to me, and I literally nearly fell off the chair, because she said to me, as a child, I went to school in the city centre, so I passed the funeral parlour every day. So I suppose really looking back at it now, I probably was quite a spiritual child. And every day I'd go in, you know, and say a prayer for whoever was dead. And you know, as a child, I was only about 8 or 9, and I'd look at the coffin and say the name and say, oh God, what happened to you? In my head, I'd say, what happened to you? You know, you were very young. And they might say, oh, I got a heart attack, or oh, it was an accident, or whatever. And then I would say, I always laugh when I think about it, because I'd say, you'll be fine now, you're over in heaven, you know. Everyone will look after you over there, because it's a lovely place. And I'd say a prayer for you as I'm here today. And I did that all through my school days, you know. I never saw it really as anything to do with mediumship, you know. And then just before my father died, I had a dream that he died, and sure, I wasn't even 10, and I remember waking up, my sister saying, cop yourself on and go back to sleep, you know. And sure, he died a few months later, you know. And then I was terrified because I thought, oh, did I cause it? You know, and that's why I think it's very important to explain to sensitive children that it's really nothing to do with them, it's just that they're in tune and they might pick up on things, you know. But thankfully now, you know, things are much more open around mediumship and all of that. And you know, for years I've run circles here. Hi Mairead, how are you, my love? Hi Gina, how are you? I found my glasses then just typical after doing the card readings. But anyway, I managed them. I hope I gave you the right messages. But you know, then because the mediumship, that woman, I never forget that woman because it was so healing for her, and God love her. I thought, like, who am I not to give a message to somebody that would help them and give them healing? And then I understood that through the readings, like the readings are healing as well. It's not, it doesn't necessarily have to be about me putting my hands on anybody really, because I'm just doing the channeling for healing in that manner as well, you know. So for many years now I've run circles, and you know, and I don't like to say like that I train people to be mediums, because I don't. Like, we're already mediums, but I suppose the word is, I suppose, I encourage them through the groups and the exercises, and I encourage them to open it up and allow the spirit to shine through them, you know. And I think through mediumship we realise that love, like life, is eternal, you know, because like when you get a message, and it's a great privilege and an honour to be able to work with the spirit, I promise you, it's such a great privilege. You know, for somebody to come into and to be devastated and heartbroken, and to hear from their loved ones, and you know, like specific things. Like I had somebody last week now whose mum came in, and the poor girl was like, obviously, you know, her mum hasn't gone to spirit long, without telling you much about her now, because you know, I have to be confidential about things. And the minute the mum came in, she showed me like an immaculate medal and said that don't be worrying about it, because she had given her one and she lost it, and she was in a state about it. And the mum said, I don't want you to worry about it, it's in your home, and told me where it could be for the girl, which was great. But she really wanted to say, like, stop worrying about it, you know. I want to see you smiling, I want to see you happy, I don't want to see you sad, I'm trying to help you with the grief. And like, that was such a beautiful privilege for me to be able to connect with that girl's mum and to give her the messages. And you know, when my own mum passed away, it was so lovely for me to sit and get messages. You know, one time I remember my mum is buried out in Douglas in Cork, and one time, and you know, I believe my mum is with me all the time, you know, I honestly do. But other people get great solace in visiting the grave, and you know, whatever works for you is right. But I remember, you know, I'd call in if I was out that way, and I always call my mother Moll, because her name was Molly. And I just call in, and she had a great sense of humour, and I just say, how are you, Moll? You know, it's the same old thing, girl, same old. And, you know, just leave a bunch of flowers there and say, I'll talk to you later, I'm sure I know you're coming with me anyway. And one day that I went out there that I was feeling I really was missing her, and I went out and I just bought a red rose and put it on her grave. And that night I had my circle here, and a young girl, and you see, that's the thing really, like this young girl who was only in my circle a few weeks, who really didn't even realise, you know, like me, she thought she was going mad. She actually thought she was going mad, that she was getting messages and things. And that night that young girl said to me, I don't know why I feel as a lady here, and she's talking about a red rose that you put on her grave. Like how you know, how could that, like, that's very specific information. How could that girl know that, you know? So like, I think it's proven just that love, like life, is eternal, you know. And the amount of times too that somebody from the spirit will come in that might not have been very nice to somebody when they were alive, and come in to apologise and to come in to talk to them, and also to help them to understand and have some compassion and realise that, you know, that when they were here something may have happened and they were in a lot of pain and they were projecting it out to other people, you know, because nobody wins, that's what you have to realise, you know. But then I went, because it is a very responsible job, you know. And to me, like, you know, I trained as a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist and all of that, and of course I've had to comply with a code of ethics, and for me a mediumship was such a responsible thing. Luckily I went and I trained with some of the best teachers in the world, you know. I was so blessed and lucky. And you know, I think the thing about mediumship, especially when you're learning, It's like you need the support, and you need to feel safe, and you need to feel like I'm not going crazy, and also like to be encouraged to say things. And the huge thing, I think more than anything, the huge thing is for learning for us to get out of our heads. Hi, Anne. And to go into our souls, because really that's where the power of the spirit is, you know. But you see, I remember first when I started opening up as a medium, even though really I realised then when that woman said to me about being a child that I was in tune with it, you know, when I was younger. But obviously I didn't even know I was doing that, you know. And but I think the fear for me was like, God, am I making up a story? Am I not telling them the truth? You know, because like I'd be very ethical about my work. So, and I think like, you know, having studied with great teachers and also studied with teachers that like I wouldn't be doing things their way. And that's fine too, you know. Like the first circle I ever joined. Hi, Colette. The first circle I ever joined, I didn't like an inch of it, you know, and I learned loads of things there not to do, you know what I'm saying? So we learn from everything really, you know. But I think the importance in a circle, for me, it was huge support to know that I could sit with people that wouldn't judge me and that we all blend our energy together, because that's really what you do in a circle, you know, where everybody grows, you know. And at the start, my head was so busy that I'd be chasing the messages and trying to think, oh, what height were they, what size were they, what colour eyes were they, and all this kind of stuff. And even in meditation, I'd be asking questions, because I've been meditating for many years, since I was probably about 19. And then I realised, like when I'd be washing the ware, when I'd be doing, you know, household things, that the spirit would come in and give me great information. And I thought, why is that? Why are they not coming to me? And then I realised that I thought, because when I'm washing the ware, I'm not thinking about anything. My mind is empty, you know, I'm just washing the ware. And that was the only chance that they got in to talk to me and to give me information, which I now laugh about because I couldn't understand it. I was like, sure, why aren't they telling me this? And, you know, also like in my mediumship mentorships, I always organise readings for people that you can read for people over the phone, give them the support that they need, give you lots of notes too to help you understand things, because I think like that's what happened to me. I was put into a circle, I went into a circle, somebody told me to join the circle, and really that circle wasn't very good for me, but I didn't stay there very long. But like I think, you know, it's important that you have support in the circle and that you're able to talk about things, and also to realise that, you know, it's a safe place to talk to, where everything that happens inside the circle stays inside the circle, you know. And to realise too, like, that it's another form of serving spirit, you know. And it's a very, like, I feel honoured and grateful and blessed and feel so privileged to be able to do that for anybody. Because, you know, people have all kind of notions about mediumship. But the fact is that we have to raise our vibration, and the spirit has to come down to connect with us, you know. I remember in that first circle I went to, that the person saying to me, you know, that, which was absolutely insane and not true, that like we have to put our energy down and go down into a cold basement, which was absolute rubbish, because I've been working with the spirit for years and I never ever had a bad experience with the spirit. The spirit world is pure love. And you know, sometimes I prefer to talk to the spirit than the people here, because the spirit world have no agendas. They're pure love. They want to help the people that they left here. They want to, sometimes that person might just need an apology to move on, and or also to be reassured that they're okay, you know, because while our physical bodies might die, our spiritual bodies will live on, you know. And that's like the less, you know, that's the soul. That's the soul. The soul is eternal, you know. And that's proving to us that love, like life, is eternal. But I do understand too people that don't realise that or understand it, that if you think, and look, I have loads of people in the spirit world. My parents are there. I have brothers there. I have cousins, aunts. I have lots of people there. But I'm sure too, I'd imagine that if you thought that that was the end and you didn't know what was going to happen with them, I'm sure it would make you very anxious and very worried, you know. And I think it's a great blessing to realise that, you know, like that our spirit goes on forever. It goes on forever, you know, and that like all the, this is my opinion, but I do believe that You know, we might have a lifetime and have to come back again to do something else. And it's all learning. It's eternal learning, you know. But it's such a fantastic thing to do, to be able to help anybody. Because look, I was that person full of grief, broken-hearted. And I'm sure some of you here that had that would understand that, you know, when somebody passes belong to you. And, you know, even though I did grief counselling, and I always tell people this because it's true. Because it's true. When my mother passed, you know, I was about 6 months on, and stupidly, I was in denial. I hadn't even looked at the grief, but in my head I thought, sure, that's all sorted now. And hi Pauline, how are you, my love? Hi Timmers. And you know, one morning I woke up, I think she was past about 6 months, and I thought of something. I said, oh, I must tell Mum that. And then I thought, she's not here. That was only the start. That was only opening the door on my grief. That was only opening the door. So like, even with all my knowledge, I still fell into the trap of that, you know. And grief is a funny thing, because really what you're doing to do is you're learning to cope without them, you know. And it's funny, hi Eleanor, and it's funny that sometimes, like I was out here a few weeks ago and I'm still laughing now about it. Like I laugh now because my mother connects with me. Now it took her a long time before she connected with me, and maybe it was that I was so desperate. Sometimes when you're so desperate for a message and it's not time for them yet to come in, you know, like you're nearly frustrated. But I was out here doing a reading with a woman a few weeks ago, and I put a chicken into the oven. Sure, I forgot all about it. And I was halfway through the reading, and the next thing my mother said, girl, you better go in because your chicken is cooked. So I said to the woman, if you don't mind, because, you know, I'm just, like, my kitchen is next door here. I just said to her, would you mind for 2 minutes if I just go in and do something? And I just laughed because I went in, opened the oven, the chicken was cooked properly, closed the door, came back out. And then I said to my mother, isn't that hard lines when you have to come in to remind me from the spirit world? And she said, yeah, I know, girl. And she started laughing, you know. So like, it's not that they're always trying to support us, but of course they don't have a physical body. And sometimes that's what we miss, the physical presence. Of course we do. Of course we do, you know. But I do think with mediumship, it really helps you to understand that link is eternal, that love is eternal, that it never dies, you know, that it never ever dies. And, you know, to be able to give somebody a message who's in that place, to help them to realise that they're still deeply loved by the person in spirit. And you know, also that the person is looking on at things that they're doing. I think that's another wonderful thing to help them to realise and understand that. Like I had a young girl here a few months ago who had just finished a degree, and I think it was an aunt came in who she was very, very close to. And I just said to her, like, your aunt is showing me that you threw the hat up into, I can't remember the name of the hat now, but you know the hat, the square hat thing that you wear. And I said, your aunt is thrilled her because she's saying, like, that she was there with you when you threw the hat up into the air. Somebody took a picture of you and you threw the hat up into the air. And she said, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And I said to her, well, I didn't say it, your aunt said it. I'm just relating that message on to you, you know. So like, you know, it's very healing for people to understand it, you know, and to be of service to the spirit. Because when we're doing any kind of healing, it's to be of service to the spirit. It's not about me. It's really not about me. It's about, you know, listening to the guidance from the spirit, and also being mindful. Like, you know, I think, like, if you're going to be a medium, and, you know, I had many teachers, and I still do a lot of learning, you know. I mean, I be the eternal student. If there's more to learn, I'm open to it. And, you know, that's why I'm a good teacher, because I'd relay information. But I think, like, if you're going to do this job, sometimes when I see people online, I actually have to get off the page because it's horrendous. I saw somebody one day with a pendulum, and this poor girl came on. I don't know how it even came up on my page. This poor girl came on and said, like, that she was trying for a baby, and did they think it would happen? And she just swung the pendulum and said, no, you're not going to have any children, and just went on to the next. I just thought it was the most horrendous thing I've ever seen, you know. So, like, if we're not going to bring in that kindness, compassion and integrity, we're really not serving the spirit. We really are not serving the spirit, you know. So, like, you know, some people do a weekend course of mediumship, and then they become mediums, which scares me, you know, because I think it took me many years to develop. And you know, when I run my mentorships here, as I say, I set up, well, I used to do it physically, but obviously now with COVID, it would have to be on Zoom. But I used to bring people in here for readings, and then they'd have to fill in a form and give it to me saying, would you pay for the reading? Did the medium hit on things? Did they say anything offensive? Because, you know, I want to know that. I want to know that, you know. And thankfully, I've always had lovely feedback, because to me, it's a very responsible job, you know. And like, I've heard horror stories too about mediums. Like, we're not medical doctors. Like, people saying, oh, you know, there's a man around you who has cancer, things like that. That's horrific. That is horrific. And I promise you, people are supposed to leave you after a reading, whether it's mediumship, psychic, whatever it is, they're supposed to leave you feeling a bit uplifted, because that's what the spirit world do. They uplift us. They uplift us, you know. And as I say, it is a joy and a privilege. And, you know, I was very grateful and blessed that Mavis Patilla, she came to Cork twice and was going to come last October, but COVID messed her up. And hopefully we'll have her back in the future, because Mavis is a fountain of knowledge, is an absolute fountain of knowledge. And I love her whole persona. She's so natural. I was lucky I brought Tony Stockwell to Cork, you know, twice. And actually even in, he came even in 2020, and it was the only event he did. And I think the next week we were in lockdown, so it was absolutely fantastic, you know. And again, Tony's a beautiful medium. And, you know, I did his mentorship, I did Mavis's. There's lots of wonderful people there, you know, lots, far too many to mention. And I learned great things from all of them. But the thing I learned mostly, I have to say, the thing that helped my mediumship most was their humility and their understanding and respect for the spirit. Because really, when we decide that we'd like to, and you know, there's loads of amazing natural mediums out there that, like, that's the thing, I think, you know, that, like me, I went into a circle that was horrendous, where they were all fighting. Oh, it was awful. But thankfully I had the good sense to leave it and, you know, find a circle that suited me and run my own circles here, you know. And, you know, the circle is all about supporting people and encouraging them and building their confidence and, you know, helping them to connect with spirit from a place of love and compassion and integrity, you know. Because as I say, it's the same at readings. Like, I would never give a medical diagnosis because I'm not a medical doctor. Or I'm not a lawyer, so I won't talk about legal things, because I have no experience in those things, you know. But I will always do the best I can to tune into the spirit, and I definitely think that, you know, it's the love, the healing and the peace and the joy of being able to do that for anybody, to have anybody leave here and just feel, I'm so thrilled to get that message and to know that they're okay. And you know, I have people coming in here, sometimes it's heart-wrenching, like people come in here that have lost their children, you know, and I'm always more than aware of that like the pain of losing your child must be absolutely horrendous, you know. And thanks a million, Sharon. And you know, that's the whole purpose, my love, is that, you know, that to know that they've never left us. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That their spirit always remains with us, you know. Their physical presence. And you know, I do miss my mother's physical presence. My father passed away when I was 10 and he was only 43, so, you know, I do miss that. But yes, you're so right. You're so right, Anne. Absolutely and completely. You're so right, my love. And thankfully, the first circle I joined, as I say, it was more like going into a riot where they were all like, you know, would you understand? No, and they were all, I was like, oh my God, I can't sit here, you know. And I remember driving home and the spirit saying to me, you need to get out of there, you know. And I started my own circles very early on when I was developing myself as a medium. I just did beginner circles, and you know, it was so lovely because you take the learning from everything, and you're so right, my love, you know. And you know, I when people come in here, it's a safe place. And you know, they have to kind of say that everything that happens in the room stays in the room. And that's really, to me, the utmost that I provide for people, because I want people to know that whatever goes on in here stays within the circle, you know. And I'm very lucky. I've always had beautiful circles, fantastic people, and I've run circles on, I do still run circles online, and they're lovely, you know. And thankfully, I think too, I suppose through all my healing, and I'm glad, that I kind of developed as a medium after doing many years working as a healer and as a teacher, that I'm glad I did it that way, because I think like as we lift off layers of ourselves, as we lift off the layers, we become more and more exposed to the spirit world. Our vibration gets higher, so we're able to connect better without the human part of us interfering with it. And that's when great mediumship happens, really. It's like connecting our heart and soul to the spirit, and it's true, the spirit have to come down to connect with us, and the more humble we are and the more we surrender, the more incredible the reading, the healing and the information will be. And whether we're doing it online or whether we're doing it physically. I've been doing lots of readings online since COVID, and the healing, like I've been doing readings all over the world, and the healing, and I would feel here what's being lifted off, which is incredible, so like, again, I was very slow to do that, and I realised really that was nothing to do with the spirit, that was to do with me. I was like, oh my God, like how could that happen? And the first reading I did was one of the most profound healings ever, and I'm not going to say any more about that because obviously it's confidential, but I knew it was the spirit saying to me, we are everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're working from a computer, whether you're working in a different country. It actually does not matter. That if somebody needs healing and you're open to facilitate that, that is exactly what happens. That it's really not about me. That's really what they were saying. And how amazing is that to be able to do that? It's just incredible, And as I say, I am starting a mentorship. It will be one Saturday a month. Now it will probably be only 4 hours, because I feel like I've done mentorships myself online with people, and I felt the full day, I was so exhausted, because it's a lot of like exercises, meditation. I bring a bit of everything into it, and why wouldn't I, And I'm very pleased to say that some wonderful mediums have come out of my circles and are now working as mediums and doing a wonderful job, because I think, to me, I would much rather quality over quantity, I would rather sit with a few people than to sit with a big crowd of people, because I think it's really important for the person to have that safety and support, and sadly in circles sometimes there's massive amounts of egos all fighting, and there's no spirit where the ego is. There's really no spirit, because it's not about comparing anybody, or it's not about anything like that. And I have been very blessed with the people that have sit here with me, and I have connected with some beautiful mediums as well, because that also realise what a joy and a privilege it is for us to be able to do that for any one person. I think it's the most amazing thing. Hi Patricia, how are you, my love? And I think, Patricia, you work as a medium too, my love. And I think once we understand what mediumship is about, I think people have lots of preconceived notions about mediumship. And really it's just another form of healing, but it's very, very brilliant that we can be really all we are. We're like the switchboard operator. That's what I say. And I think it was Tony Stockwell laughed when I said that to him, but that's what I feel like, that I'm the switchboard operator, that the person on earth is here and the person from spirit is here, and I'm in the middle trying to see what are you telling me to tell them, and what's going on with them at the moment, and giving them the bit of emotional support, and also like for them to give something that's relative, that's relative right now, that like I think people are always blown away by that, when you say like I said to somebody last week that you bought a new pair of shoes and they're in the boot of the car, and she said, oh my God. And I said, yeah, I think it was around, I can't remember now, because the minute I do the reading, I really let it go, I don't go into it any much more than that. But if the person is happy, that's really what it's about, And I think the more the spirit know that you want to do a good job, the more brilliant the readings will become, But on the mentorship, I always have like people that you connect with to practice with, and also teaching people about their ego and not to be going into it too much. And that's when you're in your head and you're trying to get perfect descriptions and all of that. And really, to be honest with you, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a big fan of the description. I think the essence, if you get the essence of the person Like, I know when my mum comes in from spirit. My mother was a tiny little woman. She was 4'11", but by God, she was a powerhouse of energy. But she was a funny, funny woman. She was a fantastic woman. She reared 8 of us on her own. She was brilliant, but she had a great sense of humour. She said things like they were. She'd laugh at anything. I know if the person says to me, I have a woman here, she's really funny, I know immediately that's my mum, you know. I don't really want a description of my mother that she was 4'11", that she was short. She was also very pale and kind of strawberry blonde, because I look like my dad. My sisters kind of all look like my mum and my brothers. But, you know, the minute somebody would say to me about this lady who has a great sense of humour and talk to me about her family, because she adored her family, I know that's my mum. I know that's my mum, you know. So, like, it is a very, how would I say, it's a very important job that you do right. And that's why, you know, I did a lot of training, and I would still be open to do training if I feel drawn to somebody to go, because I think it's constant learning, and, you know, we never know it all. We never know it all, you know. I think we learn something new every day, and to be open to the learning. Like, to me, a good teacher is a good student, and that's what I believe. And like, I do always and will be the eternal student, you know. But like, I do give people lots of notes as well and things like that. And, you know, because I think sometimes we're thrown into a circle, nobody gives you a note about it, and you haven't a clue what it's all about. You might know about colours, you might know about the aura, you might know about the chakras. All those things are all as important, you know. And like, I think giving yourself, you know, opening up, giving people as much information as they need, you know. I'm a big believer of that too, because one circle I went into, we were never given anything, and one time a deck of cards was displayed, and when I went to touch them, I said, no, they're mine, you know. So here I have about 60 decks of cards for that reason, you know. So I learned loads from all of that too, because, you know, like, if your heart and soul is in it, you want people to, not everybody will want a reading from me. So I'm really, really happy to turn out great mediums here that other people are interested in. And, you know, I always say to my circles here, and I'm laughing now about it because I don't plan on going to spirit for a while, but I always say to them, like, the joy for me of when I'm over in the spirit world of seeing people that sat here with me in circles doing an excellent job for the spirit. That to me is the greatest joy and pleasure. That will be the legacy, hopefully, that I leave behind. And to me, it's priceless. It's priceless, and it's so precious, you know. So, like, if anybody here feels drawn to, and, you know, mediums also, like, as a child, I realised, and I was one of 8 children, I was always kind of a loner. I suppose I was kind of odd. I didn't fit in anywhere, and all of those things. It's because we're sensitive, you know. Thanks a million, Eleanor, and that's the whole point, my love, is the comfort. Absolutely, you said it. And I remember that one time getting a message from my mother, and actually I think it was Tony Stockwell when I was at one of his stems, and honest to God, I literally was so astounded because it was something that happened before she passed, and he just like relayed the message just as it happened, and I literally was so blown away by it, even though I understand. I knew it was my mother telling him. I'm not saying I had any doubt there, but it was so comforting to me. It was so healing to hear that, you know, and to know that. And as I say, my mother often follows me around here, and my mother was a very neat person, which I'm not. I'm dreadfully untidy. So when I tidy everywhere and it's all lovely, she'd always say to me, oh, that's lovely now, girl. And then a few days later, when I throw everything around again, I was coming up the stairs here one day, because I have a little spiral staircase into my room, and she said, God, girl, some things never change. Look at the state of the place again. You never lost it, you know. And all I could do was laugh because she was right, you know. But, like, it's lovely to be able to get that comfort and get that, and, you know, to realise too that, like, we should be blessed and grateful and humbled that the spirit will come and connect with us. And, you know, I've never ever had a bad experience with the spirit world. Never ever. It's never happened, you know. And what's that? I forgot my glasses again. Oh, thanks a million, Anne. And that's the whole point, my love, is to give that comfort, you know. That's the whole point of mediumship. But I think now we're beginning to understand it and open up ourselves more to it and realise that there is no death really, that life is eternal, you know, that it's only the body really that breaks down, but the spirit is always with us, is always guiding us, is always carrying us, you know. And like it's the same with the, you know, somebody came in here recently and I just couldn't get over it because she said to me, like, I don't do mediumship, I do angelic mediumship. And I said to her, what's the difference, you know? And she said, what happens to the angels? And I said, well, like, is that not the spirit, you know? So it's funny how sometimes people in their mind will separate it and think, or, you know, somebody came in here one time, I still laugh about that, when I was doing massage, and I didn't realise she was a nun, but it didn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter to me what that got to do with anything. But she said to me, you know, I notice you have lots of angels around, because my room is a spiritual room and I love it, you know, and that's what it's about, and that's who I am. And she said, I notice you have lots of angels around the room, are you Catholic? And I said, well, I don't really do religion, you know, I'm more spiritual, it's more about my connection to God. And she said, like, well, those angels probably aren't the same as the angels in the Catholic Church, you know. So I said to her, well, I really don't mind, because I said, like, to me, angels have been in all religions, but I really don't mind if they're different, you know, and I really love them, so we'll just leave it there, you know, because I said, I didn't ask you what religion you are, and it's not really, I don't really need to know that, you know, but I do think like that sometimes religion separates us, you know, and, okay, and I might just pick a card there, but it's funny there now that, well, not funny now, but I mean, like, it's amazing that I just picked a card there this minute, and that's what it's about really. Whatever you consider God, like, it says God is your source. Look, that's the card and then they're not like, they're the abundance cards, but it just says everything you need is supplied by the infinite source of God, and your faith opens the doorway to receive. In God, there's no lack or limitation. Rather, there is plenty of abundance for all to share. And that's what I believe too. Like, if I share something with you, it will only grow. It won't get smaller. It won't, you know, everything grows from love. And that's what I believe, you know. And, yeah, so did I, Colette. I thought it was hilarious, you know. And actually, she was a very nice lady, I must say. She was very nice, you know. And she came a few times for a massage, but like, I just said to her one day that she kind of was questioning me again about my spirituality. I just said to her, if you don't mind, I'd rather not discuss that, you know, because I thought, I don't need to excuse myself to anybody, you know, and I didn't want to discuss that. And, you know, we did become good friends, and she gave me a lovely picture down there, a guardian angel picture one time, you know, and, you know, it was fine. I had no animosity towards it, but, like, I just don't think that I think angels have been in every religion since time began, so I just thought that was quite funny, you know. Sometimes how we separate things in our mind, or how people say, like, I like the healing, but I don't know about the mediumship, that they already have a notion in their mind that, like, oh, mediumship is bad, or mediumship is the most pure and beautiful gift to work with. It's amazing, you know. And, sorry now, guys, I did my usual thing, just spilled the cards around the place. So, you know, most of us are natural mediums, you know. And I think the lovely thing about a circle and about all the learning and the growing is that, like, we all grow together, you know, we all bloom together, and it just gives you the confidence. And, you know, I remember one time with Mavis saying to her like that, and it was total ego, of course, I realise now, but I was scared too that I was make a mess of it, or that I wouldn't do a good job. But I said to her, like, I wouldn't mind doing it if I could be behind the curtain. I don't really want to be on the platform. And I just laugh now when I think about it, you know. And she just said, and how do you think that would work, you know? No, I think it's hilarious, you know, absolutely. And, you know, once I got over myself and realised, look, it's not to do with you. They're not coming to see you. They're coming to get the messages from the Spirit, you know. And actually, every month I've had a service for the last 5 or 6 years. But I do it now online. But, you know, I loved the service where I'd have it in Vienna Woods. People would come once a month, and it was so beautiful. And we always had, like, great fun. Because I think, like, too, the fun and the laughter lifts the vibration. And nobody in the spirit world wants to see us sad, morose and miserable. They're trying to help us to get on with our lives again. They understand the loss, but they want us to get on with our lives, you know. So So like, you know, the monthly service was lovely. Now I'm doing it on Zoom and it's really good. But I am looking forward to the days again, like when we can kind of sit in a room and have an audience and have a bit of fun and the funny things too that they say, you know. I remember one time this man came in with his daughter, God love him, and he was distraught because he had only lost his wife a few weeks before. And she was a very funny, like that now, kind of a funny woman. And he was after getting new windows in the house, and they were ordered like before she passed, but God love him, when they found out how ill she was, sure everything went out the windows you can imagine. And pardon the pun, no, that wasn't a pun. But anyway, he when they fitted the windows, he painted a bit of the window that was the PVC that he shouldn't have painted. And she came in and I just said, there's a lady here, and I said she wants to talk to her husband and her daughter. And then she said, and you made a big mess of the windows, like what did you do that for? And he just was hysterical laughing, because he said, I could even picture that when I realised the mistake I made, that if she was there, she would have just murdered me for the mess I made of the windows, you know. So like that was lovely, because it really helped him to see the funny side of it, and also to realise that his wife was there watching everything that he was doing, you know, and trying to give him some bit of love and some bit of comfort, you know, because I'm sure it must be very hard, you know. And afterwards he came over and he talked to me and he said, like, God, you know, the healing for myself and my daughter, just listening to you talking about my wife and the funny things about her. And I said, like, well, your wife kind of really, I always ask that I take on the character of the person. So it's a bit like an actress, really, where you go into that role. And I always say to them, please blend closer with me. Or one night I had a man in the room who was an avid walker, somebody's dad, and he was in the army too, and he had me marching up and down the room, and it was just so funny. Everybody was just in tears of laughter, you know. So that's the lovely thing about the Spirit, as I say, you know. They want us to heal. They want us to realise that someday we'll all be together again, you know, that they're only a breath away. But obviously, of course, we miss the physical loss. You know, it'd be silly for us to say we don't. Of course we do. And you know, as somebody that has a lot of people over in the spirit world, and I'm sure many of you have here, you understand that. But it's so lovely and comforting, as I say, to know that they're still around, you know, and that they're learning. Our soul is continuously evolving and learning, you know. And look, just as I say that, like these are James Van Prague cards. I love them. Where are they gone? Talking to Heaven, yeah. And you know, he's a lovely man. I did a course with James in Edinburgh a few years ago. I met such lovely mediums that we're still friends with, and we had great fun with himself and Tony. I think it was in the Art of Conan Doyle. But we had a great time. And look, this is so true. Like, as a soul, I can be in several places all at once. But as a human, because we're so limited, because we can't, you know, we can only be here. Sometimes we find that difficult to understand, you know. And also, like the other card, and I just wanted to pick two cards before I went, because I think all of you listening here will realise that too, that when somebody passes to the Spirit too, we realise like little petty things that we fussed over before, little silly things are so irrelevant, and that life is just so short and so precious. And you know, one time, I suppose now it's going back a few years, but it's funny, I found loads of, it's funny how little things, I was just thinking about a lady, I used to work in a cancer care centre, and you know, in there I started a healing circle with those ladies, and we all had our little crystals, our altar was beautiful, and they were amazing ladies, and I learned so much from them. But the other day I was looking for something over there in my filing cabinet, which is a joke, that's what I call it, like, but it's really folders, and didn't I come across, like, I think I was there for about 2 years, and we did great work together, and I learned loads from them, but they all gave me lovely testimonials, and of course I forgot all about them, and was over there the other day looking for something, and they all fell out, you know, and some of them passed over and some of them are here, but it was so lovely. What you say, you've been looking for a circle for years, Colette? Ah, that's a shame, my love. And you know, sometimes there may be circles, like, you know, I'm running my circles now, as I say, on Zoom. But I think, you know, I was so glad that I listened about that circle, that I never felt comfortable there, and I felt like that, you know, when somebody's only learning and they might say like, would you understand this? I thought it was like really harsh. They'd just go, no, you know, and it was so harsh, and there was no camaraderie in it. There was no kind of support in it. So I think like maybe I was sent there to realise that that's not how you run a circle, you know. So, and Colette, it might be good to, I don't know if you ever sat in a circle, my love, but you know, I just think like, don't get me wrong, there might be good things happening online, I don't know, but I just saw this woman reading with the pendulum, and it just shocked me to the core that this poor girl that asked her, would she ever have a child, that she's been trying for a child, and she just shook the pendulum and just said no, and went on to the next person. It was just so cold and so horrible, you know. But I do Zoom circles. Like I have a beginners one at the moment that's finished in 2 weeks, and I'll be starting another one. But the mentorship is kind of like as well. I will be starting from scratch with people because yeah, it's so wrong, Colette, because you know it's so wrong when somebody, God love her, like I thought, imagine that poor girl thinking about like how, you know, will I ever have a baby? And then someone just to swing a pendulum and just go, no, that's not going to happen. And she just went on to the next one. It was so cold and so callous. I just thought that is appalling. And that's not any representation of the spirit, really, because the spirit would never ever behave like, would never ever give a message as curt and as horrible as that. That would never happen, you know. And oh, brilliant, Anne. As I say, I'd probably do 4 hours, you know, because I think that's loads when you're doing exercises and all of that. Because I do find Zoom, no, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic that we have it, and I'm laughing at me because I was the last person on the earth. I was the last person on earth that wanted to go near the computer, and now sure all my work is on Zoom. Well, I mean, some of my clients come back here one-on-one, but some of them stayed on the Zoom, you know, and now I'm like thinking I'm so grateful for it because it kept me connected with all my circles. It kept me in my work all the time. And, you know, especially too during the lockdown periods where people, like, you know, my therapy work where people were full of anxiety, depression, overwhelm, exhaustion, all those things, you know, disillusion, that like I could work on Zoom with them, which was fantastic. So now I kind of have a great rapport with Zoom, and every day now I say, God, I'm so grateful. Look at me here now, like even on Facebook, that I can connect with you and that I can chat with you, and you may be in different places all over the world, and it's irrelevant. So like they're the lovely things about it, you know. But I do think too that like sometimes it's a breeding ground, like for circles of people now that that will just be flippant and just throw out an answer to somebody, not realising the impact that could have on somebody, you know. And I definitely think, and what are you saying? They're pushing you to Cork, hurry up. You're more than welcome to come, Anne. And you know, as I say, I've like Scottish, my friend Louise, I think you were at our demonstration. We did a demonstration online, and you know, I went to Scotland and I taught IET course over there, and I taught an angel course, and Louise came here, my lovely Scottish friend. She now lives in England, but I found the Scottish ladies were like so naturally brilliant at the mediumship and so lovely and so friendly. And you know, even in Louise's house, she was looking at me silly because I said to her, you know, I have to go shopping now. And she was like, for what? And I said to her, God, you know, anytime I do courses here in my room, I always feed the people. And I was like, no. So I did go shopping, and I made an Irish stew, and we had it was just so beautiful. We had such a lovely, lovely time, you know. But I really did connect with them. I just think it was all so lovely. And I went back about 5 years later and I did another course with them, you know. And I'm looking forward to going back again, you know, because I made some lovely friends over there. So the last card, guys, is, look, I am learning over here. And I do believe that the learning never stops, you know, and the evolvement of our soul, that never ever stops, you know. And really when people say things like, to me, which I laugh about, saying you're so highly evolved, I always say to them, well, obviously I'm not, because if I was, I wouldn't have to come back here, but obviously I have more to learn, you know. So we're always learning and growing, you know, and I think that's the most important thing, really, that like if we want to do the work of the spirit, the more we surrender and the more we practice it and learn it, especially the mediumship, because I think it's all practice, you know. And I was just looking there yesterday at a file that I had of like mediums that sat here that are now working at mediums, which is fantastic. But like I found their what's the name? Their review, I suppose. You know, if you came in here and you had a reading, and they were all free, then like you'd have to fill in a thing for me saying like, how did you find the medium? Did they hit on any evidence for you? Was there anything they said that you didn't like? You know, because they would never say that anyway. And I was just looking at them yesterday and I thought, oh, that's wonderful. All the lovely reviews they got. Everybody said they'd gladly pay for the readings. And, you know, it's so lovely to be able to do that, because it took me 10 years to go out there and do readings. I was so scared, but I had nobody, you know, any circle I was in. We never got any practice. We never got any sheets. We never got anything like that. So, like, that's why everything that I learn, I share with people, because that's really what we're supposed to do, you know. It's not just about me. It's not just about me, you know, because I want to, like, there's loads of people out there. The world never needed more healers and teachers and mediums, you know. So I'm very happy to play a part in allowing that to happen, you know. And I always say to all my all the people that sit here with me, you know, and I don't like to say students, because we're all students and we're all teachers, but I always say to them, I hope you be a million times better than me. And I do, you know. And I hope, and they always laugh, because I always say to them, you know, when I'm over in the spirit and you hear, because some of them are quite young, you know. I've one girl now at the moment, she's 18 and she's unbelievable, you know, she's fantastic. She's such a wise soul. But like a few weeks ago, I was saying to her, like, you know, when I pass over there, I'd be so proud to see you, you know, doing the work here and doing the amazing healing, and, you know, and being able to relate to the spirit work, which is very, very brilliant, very fantastic, you know. And I laugh because she said to me, you know, I better do a good job, because I know that you'd be putting a face on you if I didn't, you know. We had a good laugh about it. And, you know, that's what it's about, bringing in a bit of laughter too, you know. So like the learning, we are always learning. We never stop learning, you know, because there's always more to learn. Nobody knows it all, you know. I certainly don't know it all, you know. But I do love mediumship, and I do think it's just understanding how healing mediumship is. How healing it is. Like when you go to somebody for a reading and they connect with your loved one in spirit. And that's the whole point of mediumship, really. It's not about us. It's not about... And, you know, the minute I do the reading, I forget what I said to the person, because I don't want to hold on to it, you know. And sometimes people would text me, say, oh, remember you told me this came through, whatever. And I always say, thanks a million for the feedback, and thank your mum in the spirit world, or whoever it is that they're talking about, you know. So like, that's the whole purpose of it. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to do for anybody, you know. And I think most of you here have lost people to spirit, so you understand that. You understand, you know, what it means to get a message. Like that is, I say, when I put that flower on my mother's grave, and that young girl here in my circle to be able to tell me that, you know. Like, that was just mind-blowing for me, because she hadn't passed long, and I just thought it was so lovely. And I knew she'd come in through that girl, because my mother, while she was a very powerful woman and a fantastic woman, and I always say she was my icon, you know. And now I laugh because I think I'm turning into her, which is not a bad thing. But like, that message for me was just so healing and so wonderful. And, you know, to realise that while I miss her physical presence, that her spiritual presence will always be with me and will always be helping me and supporting me, you know. I'm not doing cards, on my love. It was just to talk about mediumship. I was doing the cards this morning. Sorry about that. I'll just pick one for you anyway, because I just feel you need a card. But I'm really not doing... I was having a chat about mediumship, because I think, you know, it's... we have so many mediums now. It's fantastic, you know. One time, like, I remember Mavis saying that to me one time when they'd be going with Gordon Higginson, who was her friend and her tutor, and like, she speaks very highly of Gordon Higginson, and Mavis herself is a wonderful medium. But saying that that, you know, they'd go to venues to do the demonstration, and people be outside of picketing and be saying awful things to them, and that she used to say to Gordon, like, why don't you give out to him, why don't you? And he said, no, there's no need to, they just don't understand what we're doing, you know. And she said he would never And I thought, isn't that wonderful that he had that wisdom to know I don't need to defend myself to them. I know the work I'm doing. I'm doing the work of the Spirit, you know. So, and this is your card, my love. Okay. So, and I think you need to look, my love, at people that are around your friendships. Because you see what the card is saying, my love? Detox your friendships. And I don't know if that resonates with you, Anne, but look what a beautiful card. See all the flowers and all the light in the card, Anne. But I do think, and there is somebody around you that, like, sadly, sometimes people can be quite begrudging. And I just feel sad about that, because I think there's enough there for all of us. And I love sharing everything. You know, my pet hate is somebody being, and I know, and you're a very generous and kind person too, but my pet hate is somebody being mean or being possessive or not wanting to share things with you. But this is what it says on the card, my love, that your abundance flow is being affected by the people with whom you're spending time. So just be mindful of that, Anne. It just says be discerning about your associations and relationships. And this is what you need to look at, Anne, for yourself, my love. Because I know what a kind and lovely woman you are. It says choose to be with people. And if you be mindful, Anne, and step back, choose to be with people who are inspiring, generous and supportive. Like yourself, my love. Like yourself, you know. So just be mindful of that, Anne. So I might just pick 3 cards for everybody now. You see, this is me now, because I feel bad now, because I'm like, no, I'll just pick 3 general cards for everybody. And thanks a million to everybody that joined me. And it's always so lovely, and it's a pleasure for me to talk about things I'm passionate about, you know, with the mediumship, because I am very passionate about it. So these are just 3 general cards for the collective, you know. So this is for somebody here that might be looking at mediumship, or might be thinking about opening up to spirituality, you know. You could be opening up to healing, you know, like, I think, you know, I started off with massage and then went on to Reiki and IET and lots of other modalities, but it's all personal development if you look at it. But look, this is somebody with the music still inside them, that they need to draw it out. And look at the beautiful colours in that card. And it just says, it's not enough to dream or prayer. You've also, and that is so true, you've also got to take the positive action steps that you're being divinely guided to take. Consistently working on your priorities will make them flourish like a lush flower garden. And that is so, so true, you know. We have to take action. You're very welcome, Anne, my love, and lovely to hear from you. And the other one, so that's for anybody that's kind of thinking, will I, won't I, you know. Make a move and do it. That's what I want to say to you. Is like, you know, move forward. Don't just, like the Nike man said, just do it. That's, I always see that tick if I'm thinking, oh, will I do this, won't I do it? And then I hear just do it. And then I just do it, you know. So, and look, this one is for somebody that might need a bit of help at the moment. Okay, and you know, sometimes, like, I'm a very independent person, so I understand that sometimes people, you know, feel like that. But I do realise now that all through my life, when I never asked for help, and thankfully I got through things, but it needn't have been as hard as I made it if I had asked somebody for help and support, you know. And actually it was quite a big weakness. Now I realise that, you know. But look at this card, it's absolutely beautiful. Do you see it? It just says have the courage to ask for and accept help. Asking for help is a sign of strength. That is so true. As it's accepting it as it is offered to you. Very often when you ask God for help, prayers are answered through other people. Be sure to accept this assistance as well as give it to others as you're guided. And that is so true. And it's about the balance too, you know. Like, I just finished a self-care course there last week, and that's what it was all about, talking about the boundaries, the balance, not burning yourself out and having healthy boundaries and all of that, which is hugely important. So the next card is, look, connecting with all of them, taking a divinely guided chance. And it just says, all positive change and successful ventures involve a degree of risk. And you're ready to follow your divine guidance to new territories. As you leave behind that which is comfortable and familiar, but no longer appropriate for you. So that's like, take a chance, you know. And it's funny, the minute I say that now, again, I'm laughing, because my mother used to always say, and Napoleon took a chance, you know. So whoever is here listening to that, think about, like, you know, to move forward and just jump into it and see, because life is miles too short not to do it. And you know, I'd rather take a chance, even if it doesn't work out. So what? You can say I've tried it. You know. Thanks a million, Patricia. You're very welcome, my love, and thank you for joining me. So it says, sometimes we need to push out of our comfort zone, you know. If I had just stayed working as a massage therapist all those many, many years ago, look at all the people that I wouldn't have been able to, you know, help, you know, and to open yourself up on all levels. We all have lots of talents and abilities. So like, you know, I have many different hats, but they all lead to the same place. It's really not about the hats. It's just having a big bag of tools that you can help people with. But it says, as you leave behind that which is comfortable and familiar, but no longer appropriate for you, you make room for new and more meaningful opportunities. And look at a beautiful card. Absolutely beautiful. See the little fairies and the two children. It's so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So guys, I just want to thank you all for listening to me. And if any of you are interested, as I say, I'll be starting that as 1 day a month, mediumship, mentorship. And you know, I'll be starting at the beginning, and remember that there's no such thing as a stupid question, I promise you. And if there is, I ask them all, so so that's okay, you know. So thanks a million for being with me, and I'm just going to show you my beautiful flowers again because I love them, and I think a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So there they are, they're beautiful. I was going to buy myself a bunch of flowers on Thursday when I was shopping, and see how the spirit is so clever. And then I heard no, because somebody's going to bring a bunch. And on Friday morning, a client brought me a bunch of flowers. So thanks a million for listening to me. And thanks to that client for the flowers. And I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a million. Bye. Thank you.